Each of us has our own expectations, assumptions, and thought patterns on things and people. While we respond to and are influenced by the situation, we'll have different feelings. Our expectations, situation, and feelings make a dynamic triangle. For example, when I want cookies and there are some cookies available, because my expectation and the situation match, I'll have feelings that are relatively easy to handle, such as happiness and satisfaction. On the other hand, when I want cookies and there are no cookies, because my expectation and the situation mismatch, I'll have feelings that are difficult to handle, such as disappointment, frustration, and sadness. What can we do when we have a mismatch between own expectation and the situation, and thus experience difficult feelings? We'll explore the dynamic triangle of expectations, situation, and feelings. First, let's see what happens if I adjust my expectations. What about changing my expectation of wanting cookies to wanting some snack? Even when I have no cookies, some other options, in this case crackers, could help me feel better. Second, what happens when I adjust the situation? By buying some cookies, I can get my needs met and feel satisfied. Lastly, when I adjust both expectations and the situation, I'll be able to have more options. As we see, expectations, situation, and feelings are interrelated. When I have a difficult feeling, I can check and adjust the mismatch between my expectations and the situation to manage my feelings. Let's use this tip for an interpersonal relationship. Myself and someone else have own triangles of expectations, situation, and feelings. However, in this case, we share the situation. When you imagine a table between myself and the person, the table represents the situation. The red curves represent our boundaries. I'm in charge of the area inside my boundaries, while outside of my boundaries is not in my control. Inside of my boundaries, I have my expectations, my feelings, and a part of the situation. The part of the situation inside of my boundaries includes what I can do to influence the situation, such as my attitude, actions, facial expressions, and comments. My expectations and feelings cannot directly be seen or changed by others. The person will interpret my actions and comments, which I share on the table, and guess my expectations and feelings. Likewise, I will interpret what the person shares on the table and guess the person's expectations and feelings. Let's see an example. I have an expectation that I want a roommate to do her chores because I'm tired. I may look irritable and unfocused because of tiredness, and I will ask the roommate, "I'm tired now, can you do the chores?" The roommate will interpret my irritability, lack of focus, and my request and think, "Oh, because she's tired, she looks upset and wants me to do the chores." The roommate may do the chores and show some care to me. I would feel understood and relieved. When my expectation and action match, the roommate's interpretation and my expectation will have a minimum gap, and we can understand each other. What happens if my expectation and action mismatch? I have the same expectation, irritability, and unfocused attitude, yet if I say, "Why haven't you done the chores?" as if blaming the roommate may interpret what I share and think, "I'm mad at the roommate." The roommate may feel scared at me and withdraw. Then I will interpret what my roommate presents and feel not understood and sad. Because I don't communicate my expectation accurately, we end up misunderstanding each other. My expectations are invisible to the roommate, and thus I need to share them on the table to be understood. Otherwise, nobody will be able to understand my expectations, and it rather creates misunderstanding. Then I will end up having feelings that are difficult to handle. Let's see another example. A roommate had a rough time at work and appears irritable. I will interpret what I see and think that the roommate is mad at me. I'll feel anxious. However, because I don't know if the roommate is really mad at me, I'll ask a question for a reality check. Then, the roommate may feel appreciative for my care and tell me what happened. I can correct my assumption and feel relieved. What happens if I don't do the reality check? If I interpret that the roommate is mad at me, feel anxious, and conclude that the roommate hates me, my emotion takes over me and I impulsively say, "You hate me." Then, the roommate will be confused about my reaction. We cannot understand each other. Because we are social beings, we can think about and care for each other with empathy. Isn't it amazing? However, if we expect others to completely understand us all the time without communicating our thoughts and feelings, misunderstanding and difficult feelings can happen easily. Likewise, when we are confused about our boundaries and get stuck in wrong assumptions and interpretations without a reality check, we'll struggle to understand each other. By checking and adjusting our own triangles with a reality check, relationships could be improved.